Hello lovely simmers, SimsEclaire here and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are doing this voiceover for the third time. Anyway, we are in Sulani. I am building a island family home and I have messed up on this voiceover twice now, so I'm hoping not to do it again. Hoping third time's the charm. I don't know what's going on with me today. I just keep stumbling over my words, and then the last time I tried to do this, I got to a point in the video where I realized I didn't edit it properly, and my camera was moving all over the place, and I was like, I can't leave that in there. And I thought about being lazy and leaving it in there, and then I was like, no, I can't do that. So I decided to scrap that voiceover, go ahead, redo it, start from scratch. I got myself some caffeinated tea and we're gonna try and make it through this together. So we are, like I said, we're building a Sulani family home. And the exterior of the house is based off of the premise that everyone in Sulani wants to be outside. There is a whole bunch of outdoor space. There is 2 upper level decks, one in the front of the house, one in the back of the house. And the one in the back of the house does end up getting a pool on it. And then there is one giant wraparound lower level deck that goes straight from the front of the house to the back of the house. And then there's an even lower level deck in the back that just has like a small little seating area, and then also the ladder that has the access to the open water. So there's a whole bunch of stuff to do outside. There's a whole bunch of places to sit and relax and enjoy, you know, the nature and everything going on in the island, because this world is beautiful. The Sims did a really good job with this world. I'm super happy with it. I love building in it. I don't always necessarily like what I come up with because I feel like I just don't do this world justice, but I do really like being in this world and playing in this world and all that stuff. Right now we are picking out the exterior colors for the home, so I really liked this dark wood that I had chosen. It was an eco lifestyle wallpaper or flooring, and I really liked the way it looked against the sand and the water and the way the sun was looking in Sulani. So I decided I wanted to make sure everything matched that flooring. And then I had a huge issue picking out the wallpaper because I wanted to use the Sulani ones, the island living ones. But the ones I was initially picking were super cool toned and like almost white, and they weren't really working that well. And then I found this version of it, which I don't know what the difference is because they're both called the Seafarer wallpaper, but this one has different swatch colors, so I don't know if like there's technically like a bordering difference or something like that, but it had this more warmer yet still like neutral color one, so I decided to go with that. And then the dark brown thatch roof to match the floorboards. And then right now we are picking out the window situation. So it took me a really long time to figure out what windows I wanted to use with this, because I feel like I always use like the super large glass windows, whether I'm in Sulani or not. I feel like I always use the super large glass windows because they are just so beautiful, and we got our own version of them with the island living pack, and so I wanted to use them, but at the same time I didn't want to use them because I always use them. So I tried to mix and match, use different textures, use different windows, and I think I did that pretty well. I used a lot of the ones that are still like tall and open, but they have like the shades on them because I thought that made a lot more sense for, you know, like bedrooms and bathrooms and stuff. And now we're starting on the landscaping, and it's not a whole lot of landscaping. It's basically just like 3 palm trees and then some lush grasses to kind of extend what's on the like outside of the lot, because my biggest pet peeve with these Sulani lots is that they have all this lush greenery or like lush ocean corals and stuff like that, and then the moment the border for the lot shows up, they just halt. And I'm like, what? I get it, it's, you know, build your own, like do it yourself type of a thing, but like I feel like you could have gone a little bit closer, given us a little bit of a hint of how you wanted it to go, because this is now sand. So it's really hard to dictate like what should be on the sand versus what should not be on the sand. Anyway, now we're going, so right now I'm building a pathway up to the house. I really like to do pathways up to the house. I think that they just make more sense. And right now I'm using the debug ones from the island living pack because they look nicer than, or they look better in this world than the ones I usually use, the garden path stone ones. So I wanted to use those. And then I'm adding this debug fence around just to kind of block off the area that this house is in. Obviously, like, you can't block off the water access part of it, but I wanted to make it look, you know, a little bit separate, a little closed off from what we usually get. And then over here, I was going to add a little docking space for them, but I do decide just to place a boat without any dock. And then I go through and I add some coral pieces, you know, make it look a little bit more cohesive with what's going on the outside of the water, just adding some of the larger debug items and stuff like that. And I also add some of the plants from like the outside, because there are such things as like water plants, but we didn't get any of those with this pack. So I wanted to kind of make it look like maybe some of the plants from on the other side were, you know, because this is so close to the shoreline, they were kind of creeping in, or maybe they had been like grown underneath the water, and then when they built this lot, or this house, they kind of destroyed some of them, because I mean, it's a little against the conservationist of the island, but definitely when all these people were developing the island, even the indigenous people on the island, they definitely destroyed some of it. So that's the storyline I'm going with. And then over here on the little pathway over to the boat, I do add a couple of seating areas. It's nothing much, it's just a couple of benches. I think I used the ones from Snowy Escape. I just felt like that area needed a purpose, and I didn't want to place stepping stones because I felt like it made it look too cluttered, but I definitely thought it needed something more than just being this little alcove off to the corner. And then now we are starting on the furnishing. So I have this little front deck here, and I'm using the giant large windows and doors from this pack. And so I kind of imagined, since a really big theme of this pack is that your neighbors come over and you have like these big feasts and these barbecues and stuff like that, I thought that they would have like an indoor-outdoor kind of entertaining space. So what I did was I placed these windows as though they could open them and leave them open and get the breeze in, but then I put these curtains so that way they could close off this little alcove, and it's right where the kitchen and the dining room ends up being, so it kind of just extends the kitchen and dining area, makes it wider so that way they can have big family and neighborhood gatherings. And I thought that that was kind of nice, and it kind of played into, like I said, what one of the aspects of this pack was. And now we are actually on into the interior. So I think the living room is my favorite room of this build, and I know I say that a lot about the living rooms that I create. I don't know, there's just something about living rooms, but I paired a lot of the island living furniture with this coffee table from Cats and Dogs, and the coffee table matched the wood tones of the rest of the house. We'll start there, but it also had like this weathered and used look that matched the exterior of the house, so I thought that that was such a neat little thing. And then I'm using the island living curtains. Obviously they're the most beautiful curtains we have in this pack, or in this game, except for maybe the new ones from the paranormal pack. And I'm placing some plants and some other chairs around. I'm mixing matching the wicker chairs with the kind of mesh chairs. I don't know exactly what they're called, but it's like a mesh backing for that couch. And then up on the wall here, I'm placing kind of like a wall collage of different underwater photos that you can take from gameplay in the game. However, I do have all my cheats in, so if you have, I believe it's the hidden objects cheat on your game, then you can get these without having to do any gameplay. And then I'm using the tiny TV from Eco Lifestyle put onto a table from Jungle Adventure. I think I got that one right. And then just a couple of clutter items all around, you know, some candles, some different lights, just trying to give the build some finishing touches. And then over here by the front door, because I totally did this backwards and I was just so excited to fill that space with the living room that I totally forgot to do a front door area. We have a mirror and a coat rack. And then over here I'm using a plant. I was gonna use, do I end up keeping this plant? I did. So okay, so I used the new plant from Paranormal Stuff Pack. I just shrunk it down because it was too big to fit in the corner. And then over here I'm using the little couch from, or the love seat from I almost said Island Adventure. Jungle Adventure, because it kind of matched the wood tones that I was using. It has that rustic weathered feel. And then like I said, this is where the kitchen ends up being. So initially I was going to kind of separate it out, give it a different flooring, give it a different texture, try and like figure it out that way. And then I decided that didn't really flow with the house if I did that, so I deleted the curtains and I just changed the wallpaper so that way it was a tile and they would have this backsplash. And I'm using the Island Living countertops and islands, and then the Snowy Escape refrigerator and stove. And I chose this refrigerator because it's made out of wood, or at least it looks like it's made out of wood, and I think that that looks so good with these Island Living counters. Like I think that that meshes well, like really well together. And then obviously I'm using the accompanying Island Living shelves that we got, which I kind of wish we had cabinets, but the shelves work, and now that we have those plates from Snowy Escape, it's kind of easier to make them look more like kitchen shelves, at least I think. And then I'm going up and cluttering some of the counters. It's not that big of a kitchen, and I did want to make sure one of the counters was available, and since I have stools at the ones on the island, those actually aren't usable, so I had to leave one next to the stove completely bare. But I think it looks okay because the one on the left of the stove, I have the utensils and I have all of that stuff, so it doesn't look like it's just like this empty counter in the middle of a whole bunch of cluttered space. And then over here is the dining room table. So I do get 4 chairs around it, and as you can see, you can kind of get that detail that I was talking about earlier where the inside of the room also looks into the pool. And I think it's kind of cool because not only does it look into the pool, but because the inside of the pool looks out to the outside, you can kind of see straight through the pool into like the outside, like where the ocean is. So I thought that was kind of like a cool thing you could peer through without it being like an actual window. And then I also placed the glass flooring from Island Living into the pool as well, so while you're swimming you can see underneath of you into the ocean. I thought that would, like, if I had a pool I would definitely want to do that, because you're swimming amongst the fish and the ocean and the sea, and it would just be so pretty. And then into here, this is the downstairs bathroom. So this bathroom doesn't really have a whole lot in it. It's just a sink and a toilet, and then I think I get like a decoration piece, like one of the cabinets, most likely the one from Seasons. Yeah, I think I just saw me place that one there. And then I also use the tiny living shelf because the shelf matched the wood tones, and then I placed a couple more of those pictures in there as well. And then going on to the upstairs, I have this little hallway area that has the doors to the 2 outside patios. So like I said, once you're on the upstairs level, there's 2 patios, one on the front, one on the back, and the back is the one that has the pool on it. So this little area has the access to both. So I do another seating section kind of with the same idea as the downstairs. If they're doing a lot of entertaining, I figured they would probably leave both doors open to both sides of the upper deck and then have like music playing from in here. They'd have kids playing in the pool, they'd have like food up here, they'd be talking, they'd be grilling, they'd be entertaining. It would be like a real fun time. And then I also added the Moschino bookshelf over here. I keep wanting to say Seasons because the Seasons and the Moschino bookshelf look so similar, but the Seasons bookshelf you can only like use on medium wall heights or tall wall heights because it's like super, it's way too tall. And I always like usually shrink it down, but I thought that this one had a better matching wood tone anyway. And then over here we are decorating hallways, which we all know I absolutely love, which is why they always end up in my builds. I'm placing just a hallway table with some more of those collage pictures, and then I'm using one of the lamps that we got from this pack. It's one of the tabletop ones, and then just merging together some books and some cards and stuff. And then we're going back into this bathroom as well. So the 2 upstairs bathrooms are almost completely identical. One of them is an ensuite to the parents' room, and I usually make those a little bigger, but the floor planning of this house did not let that happen. So as you can see, I was literally just copying and pasting all of the stuff from the other bathroom into this one. It's a little bit of a different layout because of just how the bathroom was shaped, like which direction it was in, but it's all the same items. And now we're into the parents' bedroom, and the parents' bedroom has this like white wall, so I definitely thought it'd be white and like warm brown tones, like that would be the color scheme. So I'm using this bed. I don't really ever use the canopy bed from this pack because it just doesn't sit well with me. I don't know what it is. I think I just don't like how it's only a half a canopy, and it also gets in the way with my screenshot, so I kind of never use it. But I added some of those wall decorations from Eco Lifestyle behind the bed just to kind of give it a little bit of pizzazz. And then over here I placed one of the, I always want to call them footrests because that's what I think they are, but technically they're stools that your Sims can sit on, but I always call them footrests. And then a little plant corner just to fill up the space. And then I used the tiny living dressers because I didn't think I had enough space for any other dresser and then they'd still be able to walk to the bathroom, so I did decide to use the tiny living ones. And then in here, this is the kids' bedroom. It's very, very brown. I didn't know if this was going to be a kid's bedroom or an office when I first built this, when I first did the floor plan, so I did make it like a really warm brown tone on the wall and a really warm brown tone on the floor, but I think it looks okay. I brought in some whites and blues because this bed from Island Living had this like blue comforter on it, and it was also made with kind of like a lighter wood tone, so I matched that with the desk because I always put desks in my kids' room because to me it just kind of makes sense, so that way the kid has somewhere to do their homework. I don't know if that's like a thing everywhere, but me and my friends always had desks, and maybe it was because it was like the cool thing. You could like get all the desk decorations and you could pick out all your different like pencils and stuff like that. I don't know. I always had fun with that stuff as a kid. And then going out here, this is the pool. So literally the only thing on this deck is the pool. That was the only thing I could fit, and then some lawn chairs or lounge chairs. And then outside on this deck, I get some more lounge chairs because I honestly wasn't sure if the other ones were functional because of how close to the pool that they were. So I did put 2 functional ones on the front of the house next to a couple more love seats. And then going around to the back of the house, on this upper like little teeny tiny deck, I got a plant, an outdoor bench, and then a grill, so that way your Sims could do some outdoor cooking. And then down here on the lower part, I got some chairs and couches. I was initially going to use these because that way it wouldn't be the same as what's inside the house, and then I realized that they really didn't match the rest of the build because they weren't from the Island Living pack, so I did end up switching it out for these other ones. But besides that, that is it for this build, so I hope you all enjoyed this one. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye!